Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is adult star, Miss Leilani Lay. Leilani, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. First and foremost, I look at it from a stance too. I've seen a lot of your work. I do like a lot of your work, and I gotta say, you apply your craft very well. And I gotta say, you are probably one of the best out there. So it's a pleasure and a privilege on my end.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're
I'm
very
just having fun.
that's what it's about. Any endeavor, anything that you do in life, you have to have fun with it. And I got to say, from the adult side of things, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When we get into our teens, I got to say, puberty hits very, very easy. We get to see a lot of great imagery, and we get to see a lot of scenes. So you are part of a lot of those scenes, Miss Leilani Lay.
No, thank you. Awesome.
Now, I gotta ask you first and foremost, because the adult entertainment industry, there's a lot of work that goes into it in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I'm curious, how did you
Mhm.
get involved and what really gravitated you towards the adult entertainment scene?
Honestly, I was in the mortgage industry and 2008 happened and work kind of dried up. So it's okay. I'm in my mid 40s. What do I do? It's time to change careers. What kind of a career do I want now? So it honestly, it was a smart ass remark. MILFs are really popular right now. Maybe I should go into porn. So I researched a little bit, found cam modeling, and started there. And about a year later, a talent scout found me and asked if I would be interested in doing films. And I was like, yes, please. So they referred me over to Score Group for the 40 something division. And here I am. It was about 6 months after that that somebody had reached out, wanted to shoot content. What do you mean by that? So he explained, and that's really what launched it all. Was him and a couple of others just encouraging me, and I went for it.
Well, first and foremost, I think it's great that they encouraged you. And I look at it from a stance too. There's so many different preferences and different qualities about the adult entertainment industry. I'm going to say this right now. In your mid 40s, there's the MILF category, there's the GILF category. And there's one of the things where it's very empowering to see such a woman like yourself get in there and do the damn thing, because it really doesn't matter the age. I mean, if you're a beautiful person like yourself and you go right in there to doing some adult scenes, it does put out a lot of great content.
Yep, and that was my whole intent, was just to um, have fun. I wanted to have sex. I was horny when I hit my 40s. It was like I was a teenager all over again. So this is a good way to satisfy that need.
Well, I mean, they do
I'm
say that,
married.
yeah, exactly. And they do say the 40 is the new 20, Miss Leilani. So absolutely.
Right. And I felt great. I still felt like I was in my 20s, so why not? I mean, I was looking for a career that was fun. I wanted something that was fun, that I was in control, and that could be a retirement career, passive retirement income. And this really fills all those. So I'm just out here having fun.
Well, I think what's cool about it too is a lot of us are very curious when it comes to the adult entertainment industry. Like I'm talking, like in teen years, we see a lot of films, we see a lot of beautiful imagery. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like almost like a bucket list for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody has to do that type of film. And of course, there's a lot of people that like to film themselves having sex. So it's that quality, it's that quirk, if you will.
Right. I mean, I saw, when I decided to do this, I kind of looked at the big porn companies. What was the normal, the standard out there? I followed them as far as legalities, obviously. Um, but what I always found lacking when I watched porn was the realism, the natural, the mm, so that's what I wanted to portray. And plus it didn't seem that fun. I mean, there were some of them that bring a lot of fun to the set, put a comedic twist to things. I've always liked campy movies, comedy. So I wanted to kind of blend all of that, show the natural of having sex, show the fun, the enjoyment of it. And if things get a little weird, I guess, because when you're with somebody for the first time, it can be awkward. Just figuring out how your bodies fit and what the personality is sexually. So there can be a little bit of awkwardness, and that's fine to show an amateur, but not in the porn and the pro side, the West Coast mainstream porn, if you will. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think, well, that's the thing too, and I think you hit it the nail on the head. It's about that realism, and to make a pop culture reference,
Mhm.
let Zach and Miri make a porno with Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, right? Well, when they have that, everybody's filming their scenes, but once you get to like their scene, it's realism because they have those feelings for each other. They've known each other for a long time, so it makes that absolutely amazing sex scene,
Right. And I like that's why I like to use the same people a lot, because you develop that kind of relationship with them. You get to learn their bodies. So you know what's going to make them really react in a sense. So it just makes it more fun that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I'm going to take everybody back here, and I apologize for cutting you off, but god dang, man, Willow and Nicole Sheridan, their husband and wife duo, we've seen that a lot on Cinemax and stuff like that. So, and it could be
mhm,
like you mentioned, people that worked with each other a lot, they have that chemistry, and it shows. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like working with the same people over and over again because it does create magic each and every time. You're practically married, but not
right.
really in the adult industry, right?
Yeah, I am actually married.
Oh,
Been married for 36 years now.
God
So
bless.
just, yep. But this is my job, I guess, is do this. My husband is the one that films. He does all the editing. Um, and yeah, I do everything else.
Hey, it's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes into the editing side of
Exactly.
things. Absolutely.
Oh yes. That was he asked me when I started out and I was just nonstop working. He says, "What is your what's the task that takes you the longest time to do?" I said, "Editing." He says, "Well, teach me. I'll take it over." Oh, God bless you. Because he does all the housework and the yard work and the errand running and all that stuff too. So it really is divided up so that we each have some downtime, but we also stay busy.
Absolutely. And I look at it from a stance too as well. Like when you're talking about research as well, because that's the main thing about anything, doing research, whatever profession or career that you want to do. I'm curious, what type of films did you actually see while you were doing the research? What really kind of piqued your interest? We were talking about the realism, but what are some of the films that you did see while pursuing the research side of things to get into the industry?
Well, it was mostly just the porn that I had been watching. What I enjoyed was Evan Stone. Now, of course, I'm going back a few years because I'm a little bit older here, but I enjoyed his work because he kind of brought that fun to the set. Um, as far as the actual films and stuff that I watched, I don't really remember them. There was a lot, just a lot of porn that we watched. We had a lot of DVDs. Um, but then I also started looking at the tube sites because that was something new. That was not in my time frame per se. Um, so when those started popping up, I started kind of watching those and just a little bit here and there, just seeing the differences of what people did. Um, the things that I learned was lighting makes a big difference. So I learned about that and how to light things, how to light up the set. Angles. That's how I was kind of looking at it. So I wasn't really looking at the films per se for, remembering what they were. It was more just how are they doing it and how would I do that different? Um, and that's what takes a while, I think. It takes a few years to really practice at it to make sure that you have a clean background, that it looks nice, that you don't have trademarks, that you don't have a clock, that you don't have all these weird things in the background to just draw the attention away from what you want to draw to. And just making sure it's lit well and you get the right angles. And it was trying the you have some that are very close up, more of a POV, and then you have others that are really far back on the tripod where you think you know what they're doing. So we tried to play with the different angles to get it kind of in the center of all that. And yeah, It's been interesting. It's been a fun ride, but now we've got it down pat. It's very efficient and we're rocking and rolling it.
That actually, it's great that you brought that up too as well, because again, it's something like that that a lot of people, it's the nuances that a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize about the films and stuff like that. Like from the POV standpoint, point of view is great, but then it's like, you know what, let me get a better shot on this. It's like you watching a film to study these scenes and study this is, but like, how would I do this differently? It's, you're kind of like a student of the game, if you will, to put it in the utmost respect. You're a student of the game in the adult entertainment industry.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of,
And
sort of.
I did. And when I got in, there was the whole fetish community. So, and I live in Florida and we are like the fetish capital. So there's so many models here that reached out, oh, hey, a new model. So, of course, anytime a new model comes on the scene, almost every producer is checking that model out and saying, is she going to work for my site? Yeah. And so they start reaching out. So I did a lot of fetish. I explored some things that I was interested in. I always found bondage very erotic, and it spoke to the submissive side in me. The damsel in distress. That's what I liked about it. So I explored bondage. I explored all kinds of different things, just to see what might fit for me, what I might enjoy doing, and what my growing fan base might like. So over the years, I've figured out what works for me. So I stick to that: interracial, foot fetish, taboo, lesbian.
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head, and this is what I love about you too, because those are all very faceted and very much with a big fan base. Like for instance, with the bondage stuff, I'll be honest with you. I remember, and I'll mention another pop culture reference. When True Life came out on MTV, one of the episodes that they actually did was on the dominatrix, and it showed the world of bondage and being the mistress and the damsel in distress. So even in popular culture, they showcase that because it is something that people are into, and a lot of people get to learn about that particular world. So I love it. And besides, there's foot fetishes. There's a lot of fetishes out there that a lot of people are into. So people really get to open up the horizon and expand.
Right, exactly. And what I found, like with the foot fetish community, is a lot of guys that have that fetish, or even females, um, they're ashamed of it. They won't tell their significant other. They won't tell anybody sometimes. They're just kind of like a closet foot fetishist. And it's like, no, sweetheart, no, don't be. It's part of who you are. And me personally, I like when people have little quirks. I don't want them to be boring and normal, I guess, if you want to say it that way. But I like people that have little quirks. And so, yeah, I'm always encouraging the foot guys. No, be open with it.
Well, that's how we have to be in life, because there's a lot of people that kind of keep to themselves. And I'm like, no, if you like something, go after it or really try to explore that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what a lot of people do. They feel
Exactly.
ashamed, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what makes each and
No,
every one of us unique.
exactly. I mean, and we are all unique individuals. So why not embrace that? That's what makes the world go round.
That's exactly the
I'm
thing too. Yep.
I, I met a guy on cam. He was a spanker, but he never spanked anybody. And he was well into his 60s. He retired, still did not get to fulfill that fantasy except for virtually on cam with me. And I'm the one doing the spanking on myself. It's, a little bit different. So yeah, I felt bad for people like that. I really do.
That's the thing too. Even in your 60s, you could try something new from the spanky side of things and the virtual side of things. I mean, there's something about that with the sex appeal. Absolutely. I mean, again, look at Howard
Hmm.
Stern in the Private Parts movie when the girl pretty much she puts the speaker to her. You know where I'm going. This the speaker to it, and she's having that orgasm with Howard Stern on the air. There's something about that. Again, it's unique, it's different, but it's very cool from that particular standpoint. And also, that's really what encompassed the Howard Stern show in the 90s.
Right, exactly. It was sex.
Mhm.
Sex sells.
Oh my goodness. And that's the thing nowadays, because a lot of people, like, again, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 92, right? So growing up, we had like the Jenna Jamesons, and we showcased the imagery from like Babes of the Year and stuff like that. And I remember in particular, like Girls Gone Wild was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Girls Gone
Yep.
Wild was the big
Hmm.
thing. Now, mind you, it's just the commercials, and mind you, I was like preteen, teen, 13 when this all was out. So I'm like, okay, it's just, woo, we're woo, they're yelling, and it's let me flash like we're getting the Jerry Beats for guys, the Jerry Spring show. Yes. So it's like,
Right,
okay,
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what
Yeah,
it was. But like nowadays, if somebody saw that, they'd be like, oh my goodness. But I'm like, that's the way it was back in the day,
yeah. It's interesting how to watch the ebb and flow of time, how things change. Um, you had, it gets very free for a while, and then it kind of gets restricted for a while, and then it gets free again. And it's an up and down cycle.
You actually described that perfectly because we touch upon that. I mean, with the way social media is nowadays, especially on the
Hmm.
Instagram side of things, and Twitter's more free with showing like scenes, like kind of like samples and previews, right? So it's
Yep.
like you look at it from a stance too. It's like we've gone from the days of like, okay, here's some in the 80s, they call it the golden age, the 90s to the 2000s. And with the influx of social media, it's like, hey, let's go on some X videos, let's go on X Hamster, RedTube, where have you have everything kind of like at your fingertips now.
Hmm. Yep. Whereas back in, say, my day, you had to go into the video stores because they still existed back then. And, it was usually a back room or an adult store to get the magazines. So yeah, there's where you find your dad's Playboys or the Penthouse or, whatever. So that's how kids were exposed back then. Back then, even a J.C. Penney's catalog or a Sears catalog, we got these big, thick catalogs of every product in the freaking store. And there was always the lingerie section. That for a while even was used by, young boys when those hormones start kicking in. Hey, it's the same for females too. Just saying.
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, I love that we're discussing this because it's very true. And a lot of people, like we were talking about, kind of keep it like quiet, but it's like there's nothing wrong with talking about your sexual, adventures and exploration. But and I first and foremost don't even talk about the video stores. I was a Blockbuster and Hollywood video frequenter myself, so I totally get it. And I remember when I was a kid, like when Spider Babe came out, that was in 2002, 2003. It was the porn parody of Spider-Man. Spider Babe was in that movie, as in that movie store. So I'm like, I get it. It's cool. And that was one of my first introductions because HBO late at night, like I said, you got Spider Babe. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Skin Max.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And people talk about stuff like that from where we are now from the technological side of things. And I look at it from a stance too. Like I was a kid, Naughty America, you have my first sex teacher. You'd actually have to join the site. Now you can see those movies on X videos or what have you. So it's
Right.
like you said, it's the evolution.
It is. And there was like, even with music, there was Napster that came in and came along. And it does put a huge dent in an industry. It did with the music industry. So when the tube sites came out, it did the same thing to the adult industry that Napster did to the music industry. And it's just, you have to evolve and do things different, is all it is, really. So you embrace those tube sites and you put little teasers out and hoping to draw them back into your website.
And it's smart from the marketing standpoint, and it's just a smart business standpoint. And like we were talking about cam modeling and modeling there. Like for instance, cam modeling is very fun, and you get to be very free and open with your interactors and your overall subscribers. Now, for you with the modeling side of things, like I look at it from a stance too. Me, I've always been very much into beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. So I always love the female empowerment. I always love seeing beautiful imagery, and I got to say, you really encompass that, Leilani, within your photos and your overall work. So we had to. You're welcome. So we had to discuss the imagery side of things because if you look at modeling, I mean, from the days of Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell and everything that's come to fruition now, whether it be plus size modeling like Ashley Graham, it's one of those things. Modeling has just evolutionized as well, and we get to see so many different different shapes and sizes.
Yes, exactly. There is a photographer in the industry, goes by the Twitter handle Slam Dog, and that's what he's doing currently, is working on a project, black and white photos, but he wants every body type, every color, every sexuality. He wants to just be able to show it all because we're all unique and different. We don't always all match up, right? But I mean, that's the beauty of it. There's so many different people that there's somebody for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. And
And thankfully there's a lot for me, you know.
hey, sometimes you got to swag on it, man. Throw the flex, because there's a lot of people that love you. So absolutely. And I also look at it from the stance. It's the voluptuosity factor, Leilani. It's the voluptuosity factor that you and all women
Yeah.
encompass.
Yeah. And it's very interesting now, since I've been in it for a while. I'm starting to the new guys that come in, and oh yeah, I've been a fan of yours. So I really, they're just really excited for the shoot and everything. And it's quite amazing that so many that were fans are now starting to enter the industry. And it's like, oh wow, have I been around that long now? Oh goodness.
Well, it's the experience and it's the professionalism and, dare I say, decorum that you show. So I mean, it does make it very exciting, exciting, pun intended, if you will, for everybody to work with you for the showcase.
Yeah. It's quite humbling. It's like, oh gosh.
I gotta say, I think it's the way, also, like we were talking about, the way you conduct yourself. And first and foremost, we're gonna get into some of your films here, because you talk about role play and the taboo. I did see the one where you and the daughter were brainwashed into washing the dishes and stuff like that. That was very encompassing, because it's like sometimes, you get that mind control and then it leads to beautiful lovemaking and sex. So I wanted to ask you about that scene, because that one's a very intriguing.
It was, believe it, it's not my idea.
Okay.
The couple I was working with, they were new. They had been working together solely for a number of years, and they were starting to branch out and working with other models. And so when they hit me up, they had been doing a lot of customs and a lot of the hypno and time stop and that type of stuff. So they wanted to blend that with the triple X. And I was totally down. So they had the initial idea, and we just kind of talk about it and flesh it out, and to make it into a full scene, discussing the different things that we'll do. And I thought, well, why not? This is really interesting. I've never even thought of a fantasy like this. So it was really kind of fun doing it. I have to say though, that not being able to moan or show reaction while you're getting fucked was really freaking hard.
Yeah, because you have to be stone faced, like, you're under hypnosis. So it's kind of like your dead eyes.
Yeah, dead eyes, and you're just like, "Bleh," and it's just, it's just like, oh, oh, oh god, I'm gonna come, oh my god, and it's like, how do you hold that face? It's like, please, camera, pan away, pan away. Oh, thank God.
It is very showing as well in the film, for those who have not seen it. It's like you do, and I'll say it in perspective with you, like you absolutely have that face of like, how am I gonna get through this? You kind of like, it's kind of like you're looking like this, so it's noticeable, but it goes with the film and the story you guys are trying to tell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, and I am so shocked at how popular those are when I put them up on the tube sites, because those are from years ago, and I'm shocked that they are. I do expect that they might be pulled down, not by me, but by the platforms, because of the nature of the video. The taboo, they're starting to, even bondage, they're starting to remove, because non-consensual. And if you're hypnotized, that's another non-consensual type of thing in the eyes of those who decide our rules.
Yeah, and well, that's the truth too about it. And I mean, I look at it from a stance too, like we were talking about, from the social media platforms and just overall the video platforms in general. That's the guidelines, and that's how the rules are now. Because you see a lot of adult stars really being taken down off of Instagram. Like, it's bonkers, to put it bluntly, just to see how many people are getting taken off, and then they have to restart their accounts.
Yep. And I was taken down twice and said, no, forget it. I'm not wasting my time anymore. But yes, Instagram, you have, they're not adult friendly, Instagram, neither is Facebook. Twitter tolerates us. Thank God they do, because it's really the only platform, social media type platform, mainstream, that does tolerate us these days. The only one. We've had to, within the industry, people have stepped up with the tech knowledge, or because they know tech people, whichever, and have created platforms for us that are adult friendly. It's getting to that point. If it tightens up much more, honestly, it might go back to the old ways of, you have a membership site and you're advertising in magazines, you have a newsletter to get the word out to your fan base. That's what it could come to if Twitter were to kick us off.
Hey, first and foremost, I got to say what's old is new again. And that stuff did work, because I was in the days of, like, we talk about Naughty America. Like, again, I lost my mind back in the day with sites like
Exactly.
With My First Sex Teacher, you have My Friend's Hot Mom, Naughty Office, my Dirty Latin Maid, and all that stuff like that. Naughty Bookworms even was a thing for those that remember that site. So
Right.
it's a lot of stuff that's encompassed there. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like, we'll give you a little sample, we'll give you a little tease, but if you want more, boom, there's nothing wrong with going with that way as well, because of the way today's social climate is. So no, that's actually kind of a
Exactly.
plus for people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of the industry, especially the more amateur side, doesn't realize how important having your own website is. So hopefully, with this OnlyFans craziness that just recently happened, hopefully they're thinking about that. And a company stepped up to make it extremely easy to do. So I keep putting the word out.
Hey, that's all you can do. And I look at it from a stance too, with the influx of how OnlyFans, and you see sites like Many Vids that really showcase a lot of you ladies the way that you should be showcased, with your beautiful content, your beautiful imagery, and just the overall community. I mean, it does help for a lot of people to get their name, the new ones, and the people like yourself that really are involved in the industry itself.
Yep, exactly. And it was, and it, even the tube sites, like especially Pornhub, because they have all those model rich features. You see a lot of just, couples just, hey, let's try this out. And they're just doing videos at home and putting them up. Not really knowing a whole lot, but why not? They're just having fun with it. So you see a lot of that on the tube sites these days.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I got to say, for someone, again, with a lot of different preferences and uniqueness that we see, there's something about just watching couples in that particular type of film and genre that really does showcase a lot. So, I mean, that's another big one for a lot of people to check out if you're not, because, again, different preferences. But there's a lot of great content from the couple side of things, because, again, married, or they're just, again, they're showing what they do in the bedroom and they're putting it out there to everybody. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's there's plenty of room in this industry for more to join. Absolutely.
Now, I got to say about you as well, because we talked about the role play scenes. I know you've done a lot where it's like grandma and son, and then you get a threesome with the girlfriend, or just one-on-one. I got to say, the role play that you do, and we talked about taboo, there's the market out there for that, and you really exude and accentuate in those. So I got to give you kudos once more, because you absolutely kill it with those type of films.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you. Yeah, it was, I kind of, when I first got in, I kind of resisted it, because it was almost everybody that I first initially worked with. Hey, would you play mom? Would you play grandma? Would you play aunt? But I'm like, it's kind of weird. Really? People get into this? Well, so I gave in. I said, well, hell, if that's what everybody wants me to play, and I do look the part, so why not? So I gave into it and I started doing it, and I had a blast doing it. It was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of fun.
Hey, everybody's a little weird, but I look at it from a stance too as well.
Right?
You're acting at the same point, so still, if you're projecting that image and you're projecting that character, it's a win-win. It fits.
Yeah, exactly. And it works for fetish, it works for the triple X, it worked everywhere. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a ride.
Literally and figuratively, there is a ride. So absolutely. Leilani, you're also doing your thing. I've seen you do your thing with Rome Majors and many people on the interracial side of things that we discussed. Like, the interracial scenes is also a big market for you. And again, that market you kill. So, I mean, there's something also too about the interracial side of things that really go hand in hand for everybody.
Oh yeah, definitely. The interracial, it was funny. That's kind of where I started when I started producing for myself. It was a black guy, a black guy, a black guy, a black guy. I says, wait a minute, where's the white guys at? Did y'all claim me or something without telling me? What's going on here? So I think because I came out with my first, you know, I don't even know how many videos, and it was mainly Black guys. It was interracial. Um, so that's why I think that stuck so well, is because that's what they saw first. And that's what got them all excited. Here's this older woman and these younger Black guys, and oh my God. Um, so it definitely, I have discovered that in the content side of things, that you will find that there are more Black guys. There's not that many white guys that do content. Don't know why. Just don't know. So when they come along, I snag them.
You also had to put that thought in my head, like, why are there like not a lot of white guys that get into the industry? Because if no, and you're absolutely right about that, because you do see a lot of interracial scenes that are very big, and it goes towards the African American side of things, which is also great. But yeah, but that's the market. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be BBC or what have you, however you identify the category, it's a market for everyone, and a lot of people really gravitate towards. To go back to that front.
Oh yeah, it's. I guess it's been around for a long time. I don't think it's a niche that will ever go away. Even though there is a push, you know, from the woke crowd for, you know, non-racist and whatnot. And to me, I've talked to a lot of the Black guys that I've worked with. I said, do you consider it racist? Because I didn't think it was racist. It's simply, you are a different race than I am. I have a Puerto Rican in there. There was somebody else too. It's not just Black guys. If you are any other race than me, you know, aside from being a human race, but yeah, nationality, heredity, whatever, heritage. I just never liked the word race, because we're all the human race. How did race become color? I never understood that one. Anyway, so, but it's just, if they're not white, into the interracial category they go. So it's very popular, and I have a lot of fun with it. How big of a dick can I take?
Hey, I'll be honest, it's a lot of the women's side of things with the mentality. So I get it. And again, it shows off your sexual side. So that's wonderful. But yo, Leilani, you actually bring up a great point, because when it comes to race, I'll be honest with you, as someone who's worked in market research, people, when you do a lot of surveys, that's one of the questions that you have to ask: what is your race? But at the end of the day, like you said, we're all the human race. And I look at it from a stance that it doesn't matter if you're white, Black, what have you. We work with everybody, and it's a united, not divided front. So that's how you have to look at it.
Exactly. It's, you know, I think we should be celebrating our differences more, not letting them divide us, just to celebrate them.
Agreed. And I look at it from a stance too, from the sensual side of things, getting back to that, like me, like if there's something that when it comes to females like yourself and many females in the industry, we love seeing girls dress up like the schoolgirl or what have you. That really, like we mentioned the lingerie, there's just something about that effect that a lot of people get turned on from the imagery side of things. I mean, hey, in the 90s, we had Britney Spears with the Baby One More Time. People lost their minds over how beautiful Britney looked in that video. So, I mean, we get a lot of different role plays and stuff. It's cool. And also the fashion side of things, if you want to put it like that, the fashion side of things go hand in hand.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, what's Halloween? That's just a big dress up day. It's role play. So yeah, and I do get costumes, you know, from fans and stuff, and I do try to use them in storylines. I just can never quite think of something that's really good for it. So I do the best I can, but yeah. I just recently got a nun outfit, so this could be interesting.
Hey, that's a big one too. I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of people like the nun category. Get the ruler, you know what I'm saying? It works. There's something that relates to everybody. So I get it. And you get the creative juices flowing, the ideas. I mean, I was the kid who loved oh my goodness, when MTV used to do a lot of those spring break shows, and you see the big artists perform, and then here comes the girl down the runway in the bikini. That sells, and it gravitates towards everybody.
Yep, exactly. And everybody loves me in a bikini, so.
Hey, I've seen a lot of those bikini shots. You work it and you rock it. So keep doing your thing on that front.
Will do.
Truth is truth, man. I gotta say, from people like yourself, when you talk about being older in the scene, there's a lot of beautiful older women out there. And like I said, with people like you in it, there's a lot of fun that goes into that industry. So I got to give you kudos once more.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very
I've
welcome.
just always been the person that everybody kind of laughed at just because I was a little different. And I'm a natural exhibitionist. So, I mean, just everything, it just fits so well with this industry.
Hey, first and foremost, nobody's laughing on this side of things. I got to say, if you got it, flaunt it. So a lot of people, it's a very old cliche adage. Hey, go out there and do your thing, and you're happy and you're living your life. So keep doing it, man.
Hmm. Definitely. I still dress very daring when I do go out and, things that are a little bit see-through and all that stuff, just because, why not? I
Hey,
have clothes on,
that's very true.
kind of.
And it's a look and it goes. I mean, hey, sometimes you got to spice it up, with your looks. Sometimes it's not about all the conservative, the button down type of look. Sometimes you got to spice it up. So I get it.
Yep. Hmm.
I mean,
It's just fun.
it is, man. Like one day you could just be dressing normally, and then next you can look like God rest her soul. You look like Tawny Katane on the Car in the White Snake video. Sometimes you got to spice it up.
Yeah. Because I have this small tit,
Mm.
I have no cleavage. So I would wear tops that were very clingy and thin. So the nipples would pop out. And, you might be thin enough to even see the darkness of the nipple. And it was just wonderful to walk down the street and like, yep, I see y'all looking. Cool. I ain't got no cleavage, but I got something to show.
Yeah, it's a little something, something. I like you. Tease a little bit. Hey, here's a nipple. That's what's up. I see you. Okay. Well, that makes you also too as well, because it's the vibrancy that really goes into your character and everything as well. Because like I said, every time you see a movie of yours, you're having fun, and it showcases within the scene and you in general. So like I said, that is what makes your films great and the content that you produce. So I really look forward to seeing what you have coming in the future, Miss Leilani Lay. I know you will not disappoint. So
Oh, thank you.
you're very welcome. No,
I'll just keep doing my thing.
hey, it's the truth. And I look at it from a stance too. I do have a couple final things I want to add. First and foremost, it's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show. So the overture's here. Anytime you want to come back for round two, you're more than welcome to.
Awesome. I would love to. I had a blast talking with you.
Thank you. For you, please. First and foremost, what I get to do, I get to interview people of all facets of life. And the adult entertainment industry is always one that has fascinated me. And hey, as a guy, we love seeing a lot of beautiful women like yourself doing your thing and creating content. So it's a joy and it's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Been
very
a pleasure talking.
thank you. Couple final things as well, because someone who's a veteran like yourself doing the damn thing for years upon years upon years, do you have any advice for a lot of the gals wanting to get in the industry from the modeling aspect, and then here we transition into the adult entertainment industry? What advice would you give them?
Um, Start a business first. Always make sure you have an LLC or a corp. That is the number one thing. Learn the rules, learn the laws. There is paperwork, there's things that we have to do legally. And just be aware that this is for life. It doesn't ever really go away. Once you got porn out on the internet, it's there and it will affect you for the rest of your life. So say you decide in 5-10 years that, nah, this isn't really for me, and you quit, you might have a hard time finding a career afterwards. Your choices will be limited. Other than that, learn about lighting, learn about angles. Start cheap. Start with your phone if you have to. But when you buy equipment, buy good equipment, and just as you make money, pour it back into your business until you've got the equipment you want and you've got the setup you want. It's the basics.
Hey, beautifully said. It's basics 101, but there's a lot that goes into it. And like I said, appreciation from in front of the camera and behind the camera, and it does show. So people adhere to that advice for the lovely Miss Leilani Lay. So before we close this out, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media platforms that you have, your website, please promote. The floor is yours, Leilani.
Actually, one site is all you need,
All right.
theleilani.com, theleilani.com. And it's my link page. And it will lead you to my websites, to any social media I have, to the tube sites, to interviews. So that's just my link page. Bookmark it, and you'll always be up to date.
See, that's the thing too. First of all, I got to say this. This is what I love about you too, because we do get a lot of Twitters and Instagrams, but you're just like bada boom, like LeilaniGuy.com, you're there. No, and I mean that's very simple because a lot of people don't just go, "Oh, here's my website." I mean, there's different. We break it down, but a lot of people don't realize just the basic of here. Here's my website. Click, takes you to everything. So I mean, it's keep it
Mhm.
simple, stupid. It's the old KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You know. So it works. And like I said, the links will be.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep. So the Leilani guy will put in the website in the description on SoundCloud and YouTube. And do you have any final words for your fans who've been supporting you since day one, Miss Leilani guy?
I am so, so grateful for all of my fans, for all of the support over the years. I wouldn't be here without them. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Beautifully said. And my final words: beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Leilani Kai, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you very much for your time, Leilani.
Thank you, Mike. Have a great day.